Have you ever walked into a room and felt yourself disappear, as if your presence dissolved before anyone even acknowledged you? Meanwhile, someone else steps inside, says absolutely nothing, yet the entire atmosphere reorients around them. People pause mid-sentence. Their eyes track the newcomer. Their energy shifts toward that person, as if pulled by gravity. Their words land like stone, while yours evaporate before they reach anyone's mind. You've seen this difference. You've felt it. You've wondered why it happens and why it keeps happening to you. The reason is simple, dark, and uncomfortable. Every single day of your life, whether you realize it or not, you are broadcasting a psychological signal, a silent code. This code tells the world exactly how to treat you. It tells them whether you should be respected or used, whether crossing you will have consequences or be forgettable, whether you are a person of gravity or a person who blends into the background. Most people never learn this code. Most people spend their entire lives signaling weakness without understanding they're doing it. But the truth is even more dangerous. You are not just broadcasting a code. You are training people how to treat you. Every time you allow someone to interrupt you, you teach them you're interruptible. Every time you accept being canceled on without consequence, you teach them your time is cheap. Every time you smile through disrespect, you teach them you can be walked on without resistance. Every time you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you teach them you care more about their approval than your own boundaries. Not because you are weak, but because no one ever taught you the psychology of power and respect. So let's begin with the first brutal truth. Someone is holding the remote control of your life, and too often, it is not you. People pleasers don't merely enjoy approval, they depend on it. Approval becomes a drug. Its absence feels like withdrawal. And the moment people realize how badly you crave acceptance, they gain the ability to control you without effort. Approval becomes a lever. Disapproval becomes a weapon. A sigh, a raised eyebrow, a cold tone, a delayed reply. These small gestures push and pull your behavior like buttons on a remote. That is how manipulation operates. It doesn't always arrive in the form of domination, threats, or aggression. It arrives as subtle emotional engineering. It arrives through controlling the psychological oxygen you breathe. When someone knows their approval can soothe you and their disappointment can break you, they no longer need to shout or demand anything. You will adjust yourself automatically because you've already been conditioned to react. This is why predictability is vulnerability. If a person can predict that you will always forgive, always explain yourself, always soften your tone, always bend your schedule, always cater to their comfort, always silence your needs to maintain peace, then you are not kind, you are controllable. And controllable people inevitably become tools in the hands of those who understand human nature better than they do. To understand how deep this goes, you need to see the dark side of approval. Not everyone who compliments you is kind. Some people use praise as a trap. Approval becomes bait. You're so reliable actually means, I know you'll do the work I don't want to do. You're the only one who understands me means, I'm isolating you so you'll feel guilty saying no later. You're such a good person means, your fear of disappointing others is now my leverage. You're so easygoing means, I can push your boundaries and you'll stay quiet. You're better than other people means, I'm putting you on a pedestal because people on pedestals are afraid to say no. These aren't compliments. They're contracts, psychological obligations that you never agreed to but follow anyway. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this dynamic centuries ago when he wrote, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, love and fear, and he who controls these controls men." Approval is the modern form of love. Disapproval is the modern form of fear. Whoever controls those two controls you. Here's the deeper Machiavellian truth. You're often treated like an option because you have trained people to believe disrespect comes with no price. Humans are economic creatures. We make decisions based on cost and reward. If disrespecting you costs nothing, then there is no reason for people to stop. And if respecting you costs effort, then people won't bother unless they are shown that the equation has changed. This leads to the first set of principles you will need to understand if you want to command respect instead of begging for it. These are the 5 Machiavellian rules of respect: short, sharp, and psychologically exact. Rule 1. Power is felt, not announced. The strongest people rarely explain their boundaries. They enforce them silently and consistently. Rule 2. Predictability kills power. The more predictable your reactions are, the easier you are to manipulate. Autonomy comes from being able to choose your response, not repeat it. Rule 3. Calmness is dominance. Emotional control is psychological warfare. Calmness under pressure makes manipulators lose their advantage. Rule 4. Scarcity creates value. Your time, access, and attention are currencies. The more abundant they are, the cheaper they become. Rule 5. Consequences teach better than words. Explanations change nothing. Consequences change everything. Memorize these rules. They are already being used against you by people who understand human behavior intuitively, even if they have never read a psychology book in their life. In the next sections, you will learn exactly how to apply them to rebuild your presence, reclaim your boundaries, and eliminate the mechanisms that make you easy to dismiss. But before moving on, anchor the shift inside your mind with a simple ritual. Say it out loud or write it down, because psychological transformation begins with internal declaration. I choose respect over approval. I reclaim control of my reactions. No one holds the remote control of my life but me. The internal reset. Rewiring your self-respect and breaking the psychological contract of weakness. Before you can project power outward, you must confront the place where the erosion began, internally. People treat you the way they do because you taught them your boundaries were optional. But the deeper truth is more uncomfortable. You taught yourself the exact same thing. You have been violating your own boundaries long before anyone else did. You have been ignoring your own discomfort long before anyone else learned to ignore it. And you have been breaking promises to yourself so often that your nervous system no longer believes your own word. This is why change feels impossible. It is not because you lack strength. It is because your mind has been trained to expect your own self-abandonment. When you promise yourself you'll stop overgiving, you don't follow through. When you say you'll walk away next time someone disrespects you, you don't. When you say you'll rest, you don't. When you say you'll finally say no, you still say yes. Every broken inward promise becomes a training signal. You are teaching your mind that your standards are negotiable, your boundaries are flexible, and your needs are the lowest priority in any room. If you want to change how the world treats you, you must first repair the fracture between your intention and your action. Respect doesn't begin with others. It begins internally. A boundary has zero meaning if you violate it yourself. A standard has zero power if you drop it the moment someone frowns. This internal collapse is the foundation that external disrespect stands on. Let's look at how people-pleasing develops at the root. It almost always begins in childhood, long before you understood what self-respect meant. You learned that approval was safety and disapproval was danger. In some homes, being good avoided conflict. In others, it kept the peace. In others, it ensured love. You learned that suppressing your needs made you easier to live with. You learned that silence prevented explosions. You learned that becoming agreeable made the world less threatening. You never chose people-pleasing, you survived with it. But survival strategies have expiration dates. What once protected you now suffocates you. You're no longer in that environment. You're no longer that child. But your nervous system doesn't know that. It still reacts to disappointment, disapproval, or conflict, as if your safety depends on being liked. This is why you crumble when someone is upset with you. This is why you over-explain yourself. This is why you shrink instead of standing tall. This is why you avoid confrontation even when you are being mistreated. Your mind is reacting to an old danger that no longer exists. The transformation you are about to undergo requires you to break this contract with the past. You must learn to disappoint people without apologizing for it. You must learn to tolerate others' discomfort without sacrificing yourself. You must learn to let people be upset, annoyed, or confused without bending to soothe their emotions. Because the truth is, the fastest way to lose respect is to show that other people's feelings have more authority over your behavior than your own principles. To rebuild internal power, you must learn the art of self-trust. Self-trust grows through a cycle: decision, action, consistency. You decide your standard, you enforce it, you maintain it regardless of who approves. Each time you do this, your nervous system learns a new lesson. When I speak, I listen. When I decide, I follow through. When I set a boundary, it stands. When this internal credibility forms, your external presence changes in a way that others can feel without you saying a word. Let's examine one of the most dangerous psychological vulnerabilities people pleasers have: predictability. People who want to use you, drain you, or manipulate you rely on your predictability. They rely on your consistent apologizing. They rely on your automatic forgiveness. They rely on your fear of confrontation. They rely on the fact that you always come through. The moment someone knows they can predict your decisions, they can control them. Predictability becomes a weapon in the hands of those who understand how to exploit it. This is why autonomy, true psychological autonomy, requires controlled unpredictability. Not chaos, not instability, but the ability to respond differently than people expect, based on your own principles instead of fear or guilt. Sometimes you help, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you are available, sometimes you aren't. Sometimes you explain. Sometimes you simply state a decision. Sometimes you answer a message immediately. Sometimes you leave it until you're ready. The goal is not to confuse people. The goal is to remove the assumption that you belong to them. Controlled unpredictability is a form of power because it forces others to treat you with caution. They can no longer take you for granted. They can no longer assume their usual tactics will work. They can no longer rely on your compliance. Once unpredictability enters the dynamic, the balance shifts immediately. But autonomy alone is not enough. To maintain power, you must pair autonomy with calmness. Calmness is the quiet language of dominance. Anyone can shout. Anyone can react. But the person who maintains control over their emotions controls the interaction. Manipulators rely on triggering emotional reactions: anger, guilt, shame, panic. Once they provoke you, they can steer your behavior. But when you refuse to be triggered, when you remain steady, composed, and unreactive, they lose the map they were using. Their weapon becomes useless. Calmness is not passivity. Calmness is the refusal to let another person's emotional state dictate your decisions. Calmness is psychological clarity during conflict. Calmness is the mature understanding that you don't need to win arguments. You only need to enforce standards. When someone insults you, calmness exposes them rather than you. When someone guilt trips you, calmness recenters the boundary. When someone pressures you, calmness breaks their expectations. Calmness is not soft. Calmness is steel. Now let's address a principle most people avoid: consequences. People pleasers resist enforcing consequences because they believe consequences are cruel. They believe that setting a boundary with a cost attached is mean. But consequences are not punishment. Consequences are information. They communicate what is acceptable and what is not. Without consequences, boundaries collapse. Without boundaries, respect evaporates. When someone crosses a line and nothing changes, no distance, no shift in tone, no reduction of access, they learn your boundaries are props. They treat them like theater. They may nod as you talk, but psychologically, they are taking notes. There is no cost for violating this person. And once someone understands that, your words become noise. Only consequences transform behavior. The key is quiet, consistent enforcement. Let's examine the psychology of consequences through a Machiavellian lens. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Most people misunderstand this line. It does not mean cruelty, it means clarity. It means that love without consequence becomes exploitation, but love paired with clear boundaries becomes respect. Fear, in this context, does not refer to intimidation. It refers to recognizing that crossing you has a cost. Consequences do not require anger. They do not require confrontation. They simply require follow-through. If someone mocks you, you reduce access. If someone disrespects your time, you stop offering it. If someone repeatedly cancels plans, you stop making them. If someone raises their voice, you end the conversation. No lecture, no dramatic announcement, no emotional explanation. Just a consistent shift that teaches people the psychology of interacting with you. Boundaries enforced through action, not words, create the deepest change. We will soon go deeper into scarcity, silence, and relational recalibration. But before moving to the next part, anchor the transformation internally once again. Repeat silently or aloud. I enforce my own standards. My calmness is my power. My boundaries have consequences. Scarcity and silence. The ultimate power moves for commanding respect. As you begin to implement the new rules in your life, you will start to notice something remarkable. The people who once took you for granted will begin to recalibrate. They'll either step up or step away. But either way, you will be in control of the shift. This is where the power begins, because the principle of scarcity is not just a psychological truth, it's a universal law. Scarcity creates value. Humans instinctively crave what is rare, what is limited. The psychology of scarcity has been observed for centuries. We desire things that are in short supply. When something is readily available, we devalue it. When it's rare, we fight to possess it. And you, up until now, have been overly available. Your time, your energy, your forgiveness, your affection. You've made these things easy to access, and in doing so, you've taught people to take them for granted. You've taught them that you are always there, always willing, always forgiving. Your presence became the backdrop of their lives, rather than the center. You were never in high demand because you were always available, but now you are learning the true value of scarcity. The more you pull back, the more people will start to notice. When you stop bending to everyone's schedule, when you stop answering every message immediately, when you stop forgiving every offense with no consequence, something powerful happens. People begin to treat you like the rare and precious resource you are. The principle of scarcity is simple. The less you give, the more people want. Your time, your energy, your presence. These are your resources. They are finite, and they should be treated that way. When you stop making yourself endlessly available, you communicate something powerful. Your time, your attention, your energy are limited, and if someone wants access to them, they must earn it. Silence, the ultimate boundary. This brings us to the most powerful tool you have in your arsenal: silence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is strength. Silence is power. When you stop rushing to fill uncomfortable silences, you create an atmosphere of authority. You stop playing into other people's emotional games. You stop letting them manipulate your reactions by demanding answers, by fishing for validation, or by creating drama to keep you on your toes. Silence is your space. It's the place where you can simply be without feeling the need to perform, without feeling the need to explain. Silence forces people to confront themselves. Here's the brutal truth. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop justifying your boundaries, when you stop apologizing for your decisions, you leave others with no choice but to confront their own behavior. You force them to face what they're really doing. You force them to ask themselves, why am I trying to push this person's boundaries? Why am I attempting to manipulate them? Why am I not respecting their space? And when you remain unshaken, when you stand tall in your silence, they realize something. You are not afraid of losing them. You are not afraid of their judgment. You are not afraid of being difficult. You are comfortable with yourself and that discomfort they feel. That is the feeling of them losing control. Silence is the language of someone who has nothing to prove, and nothing unnerves a manipulator more than someone who refuses to engage emotionally. When you remain emotionally neutral, when your tone remains steady, when your expression remains calm, when your energy remains unwavering, they lose their power. They are no longer able to use guilt, shame, or anger to control you. Instead, they begin to see that they cannot affect you, and that is terrifying to anyone who relies on emotional manipulation. Silence is the most powerful boundary. Machiavelli knew this well. He wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Silence is your fox. It's your ability to recognize manipulation without reacting. And when you decide to step into your lion energy, silence is the weapon you use to frighten the wolves. You do not need to justify yourself. You do not need to explain your decisions. You do not need to defend your choices. You simply withdraw, creating distance. You create silence. You create absence. And in that absence, the world recalibrates itself around your boundaries. People who once treated you like an option now realize your value. People who once pushed your limits now understand that pushing them comes with consequences. This is the power of silence. It forces others to confront their own behavior, and it forces them to respect you without you saying a word. The 5 Machiavellian rules of respect. Again, to cement your learning, these are the 5 rules that will shift the balance of power in your life. Rule 1. Power is felt, not announced. You do not need to announce your boundaries. You enforce them. Your silence speaks louder than your words. Rule 2. Predictability kills power. The more predictable you are, the more control others have over you. Autonomy comes from the ability to choose your reactions, not react automatically. Rule 3. Calmness is dominance. Emotional control is psychological warfare. By remaining calm, you show others that they cannot manipulate your emotions. Rule 4. Scarcity creates value. The more selective you are with your time and attention, the more valuable they become. Scarcity amplifies respect. Rule 5. Consequences teach better than words. When you enforce your boundaries with consequences, you force people to adjust. Empty words only create noise. Silent enforcement creates respect. If you are committed to this transformation, drop these affirmations in the comments below. Repeat them to yourself daily. Your transformation starts with internal declaration. I choose scarcity over availability. I will no longer justify my boundaries. My silence is my strength. I am in control of my reactions. When you implement these principles, scarcity, silence, consequences, and unpredictability, you begin to see an immediate shift. People who once took you for granted will recalibrate. They'll either step up to meet your standards, or they'll step out. This shift isn't violent. It isn't aggressive. It's quiet. It's deliberate. It's power in its purest form. Your time and attention will no longer be viewed as unlimited. Your presence will no longer be taken for granted. Your forgiveness will no longer be automatic. You will stop being the person who gives endlessly without receiving. You will stop being the person who bends without standing tall. You will stop being the person who pleases others at the cost of your own peace. In the next part, we will dive into the deeper mechanics of consequences and how you can begin to enforce them without guilt, shame, or emotional outbursts. But for now, focus on internalizing the power of silence and scarcity. Remember, your time, your energy, your presence, your attention, they are valuable resources. Treat them as such. The power of consequences. Teaching respect through action. You've heard the rules. You've understood the principles of scarcity, silence, and unpredictability. But now it's time for the most crucial step in reclaiming control over your life. Consequences. You see, most people mistake being nice for being respectful. They believe that by endlessly offering their time, being constantly available, or forgiving every transgression, they are cultivating respect. But here's the brutal truth. You don't gain respect by being nice. You gain respect by setting consequences. Consequences are the invisible force that governs behavior. If there's no cost for violating your boundaries, people will cross them without hesitation. But when there are consequences, real, tangible, and consistent, the game changes. The psychology of people is simple. They only repeat behaviors that yield a reward and stop behaviors that incur a penalty. If someone disrespects your time, but nothing happens, they learn that disrespect costs them nothing. If they know that the next time they displease you, they lose access to your energy, your time, your presence, then that's a cost they'll start to weigh every time they consider crossing you. Consequences don't need to be loud or dramatic. In fact, the most powerful consequences are silent and swift. They don't require explanations or emotional outbursts. They just require action. For example, someone mocks you, you reduce access. Someone disrespects your time, you stop offering it. Someone repeatedly cancels plans, you stop making plans with them. Someone speaks to you with cruelty, you end the conversation immediately. There's no speech, no long-winded explanation, no emotional performance, just the quiet, powerful action of enforcing a boundary. Machiavelli, ever the strategist, said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." This doesn't mean you should become a tyrant. It means that respect, true, lasting respect, is built on the cost of crossing you. Fear, in Machiavellian terms, doesn't mean terror. It means consequences. It means that when people understand there is a price to be paid for crossing you, they treat you differently. They stop taking you for granted. The 3 types of consequences. You must enforce time consequences. Your time is sacred. When people disrespect it, you must reduce the amount of time you spend with them. If they constantly cancel plans, stop scheduling with them. If they waste your time in conversation, politely disengage. Emotional consequences. Your emotional energy is just as valuable as your time. If someone is emotionally draining you, whether through manipulation, guilt-tripping, or constant negativity, pull away. Don't argue. Don't try to fix them. Just step back. The absence of your energy teaches them the value of it. Access consequences. Your presence is a privilege. If someone consistently disrespects you or takes your presence for granted, don't feel obligated to be available. It's the principle of scarcity at work. The more selective you are with your attention, the more valuable it becomes. These consequences don't need to be announced. They need to be enforced. Your silence, your absence, your unavailability, they are all consequences that speak louder than words. The ritual of self-respect, enforcing boundaries with power and precision. At this point, you should have a deep understanding of how to apply the principles of Machiavellian power in your life. But here's the most important lesson. Respect begins with how you treat yourself. You cannot demand from others what you do not give yourself. If you allow your own boundaries to be violated, you will teach people around you that your boundaries have no real value. If you break promises to yourself, your nervous system learns that your word means nothing. If you tolerate your own self-neglect, you train your mind to accept scraps from yourself and from others. It all starts with self-respect. You can't demand respect from others if you don't respect yourself first, and you can't set boundaries with others if you consistently violate your own. The first person you need to show respect to is you, your time, your energy, your emotions. When you consistently honor your own boundaries, you will naturally train others to do the same. If you break a promise to yourself, if you betray your own principles for comfort or approval, you are teaching yourself that you are not worth your own commitment. This is the underlying issue with people-pleasing. You break promises to yourself every time you bend to others' expectations. And when you break promises to yourself, you undermine your own self-worth. You teach your mind that you are not trustworthy and that your boundaries are just suggestions, not rules. Affirmations to begin enforcing self-respect. To start enforcing your boundaries internally and externally, here are affirmations you can say daily to reprogram your mind. I choose myself. My needs are valid. I enforce my boundaries with power and clarity. I honor my time and energy and demand that others do the same. I no longer tolerate disrespect from myself or anyone else. I am worthy of respect, and I give it to myself first. Repeat these affirmations until they become your reality. Enforcing your boundaries isn't just about what others do. It's about what you do first. When you honor your own boundaries, others will follow suit. The power of consistency. Never backing down from your standards. When you begin to enforce your boundaries, you will notice something curious happening. You will feel the urge to explain yourself, to justify your decisions, to back down. But don't. This is your inner people-pleaser trying to resurface. This is the old version of you, the one who feared rejection, conflict, and disapproval. But you are not that person anymore. You must remember that consistency is what builds respect. If you shift your boundaries every time someone challenges them, you teach people that they are negotiable. But when you consistently enforce your boundaries without wavering, people begin to realize that you will not bend. And that is when the real respect begins. Rule 6. Consistency is power. Machiavelli taught us that power is built over time, through strategic consistency. He said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." This means that you must act decisively and without hesitation. The longer you wait to enforce a boundary, the more it becomes a habit you're afraid to break. When you start enforcing your boundaries immediately, you begin to teach people that your rules are non-negotiable. Your silence will become a constant reminder to others that you are not someone to be ignored. The final shift. Owning your power with silence and scarcity. Once you have consistently enforced your boundaries, people will start to adjust. They will recalibrate their behavior. They will either rise to meet your standards, or they will fade into the background. The ones who leave were never meant to stay. You will no longer be the person who sacrifices yourself for the approval of others. You will no longer be the one who bends to make people comfortable. You will no longer be the one who pleases everyone at your own expense. In the next section, We will dive deeper into the mechanics of relational recalibration. We'll talk about how to identify who truly respects you and who is only there because of your compliance. We'll also discuss how to use scarcity and silence to create deeper, more meaningful relationships. But for now, remember this. Respect is not something you earn. It's something you demand through your actions. And the most powerful actions are those that enforce boundaries and silence the need for approval. Rebuilding your relationships. The power of scarcity, silence, and self-respect. As you begin to apply the principles of Machiavellian psychology, you will experience a powerful shift in the way people treat you. The first phase of this shift may feel uncomfortable. People who once relied on your compliance, availability, and need for approval will begin to pull away, or they will push back in an attempt to maintain control. But this is precisely where the transformation begins. The test of real respect. Who is still standing? When you stop being the person who always says yes, when you stop over-explaining, when you stop prioritizing others' comfort over your own, something remarkable happens. Some people will leave. These are the people who were only in your life because of your willingness to be used. They were never interested in respecting you. They were interested in your compliance. But what remains will be the people who truly value you. They will respect your boundaries because they understand the value of those boundaries. These are the people who will stay, not because they can manipulate you, but because they see your worth and want to be a part of your life on your terms. The relationships that survive the scarcity audit are the ones worth keeping. The others, let them go. This is why scarcity is one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. The more selective you become with your time, energy, and attention, the more people will begin to value it. They will stop taking you for granted. They will stop expecting your availability on their terms. They will stop assuming you are there to please them. And here's the thing. When you are no longer desperate for approval, you attract those who genuinely respect you. You stop attracting people who need you to be something you are not. You start attracting people who appreciate you for who you truly are, not for who you perform to be. The power of silence and self-respect in relationships. Now, let's take a deeper look at the relationships that remain. These relationships will be different from the ones you've had in the past. They will be based on mutual respect, not the kind of respect that comes from manipulation, but the kind that is built on authenticity. Here's the truth. The people who truly respect you are not the ones who praise you endlessly. They are the ones who honor your silence, your boundaries, and your needs without trying to control them. Silence becomes your most powerful tool in relationships. It's not the absence of communication, but the absence of neediness. When you stop filling the empty spaces with explanations and justifications, you create room for people to understand the depth of who you are. They are forced to engage with you on a level that goes beyond surface-level interaction. They are forced to confront their own behavior and adjust their approach because they understand that you will not beg for their validation. The relationships that remain after you've enforced your boundaries through scarcity, silence, and consequences will be deeper, more genuine, and more fulfilling. They will be based on your true worth, not on what others can extract from you. The final shift. Owning your power and commanding respect. The final piece of the puzzle is ownership. You must own your worth. You must own your power. You must own the fact that you are not for everyone, and that is exactly where your power lies. You are not meant to be liked by everyone. You are meant to be respected by the right people. The ones who see you as a peer, a partner, a worthy individual, not someone to be used or manipulated. This is why it's so crucial to stop seeking approval from people who do not respect you. Approval seekers are always at the mercy of those they seek validation from. But when you stop seeking approval, you take back the remote control of your life. Self-respect is not about being arrogant. It's not about being cold or dismissive. It's about understanding that you have value, and that value is not negotiable. It's about understanding that your time, your energy, and your presence are precious, and they should never be given away freely to those who don't appreciate them. When you understand your worth, you stop giving it away. Machiavellian final thought: self-trust equals power. Remember the quote from Machiavelli: "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." This is where your transformation begins to solidify. Self-trust is the foundation of all power. When you begin to trust yourself to enforce your own boundaries, to stand by your decisions, and to choose your own peace over others' comfort, you begin to see the world respond differently. You stop second-guessing yourself, you stop asking for permission, and you stop explaining yourself. The ultimate affirmation: I choose myself. To finalize your transformation, I want you to take the following affirmation seriously. I choose respect over approval. I choose peace over pleasing. I reclaim control over my life. I enforce my boundaries without guilt or explanation. I trust myself to make the right decisions for my well-being. These are not just words. They are the beginning of a new identity, one that does not bend to the whims of others, but stands strong in its own sovereignty. The end of the approval trap. Psychological freedom. Once you truly internalize these principles, you will experience psychological freedom. You will no longer feel the need to seek approval from others. You will no longer seek validation from external sources. You will stop performing for anyone's approval. Instead, you will live from your own standards, your own values, and your own self-respect. The people who remain in your life will be the ones who respect you at your core. They will no longer be there to manipulate you, to drain you, or to take advantage of you. They will be there because they truly understand your worth. They will be there because they respect the boundaries you have set. And they value your presence not because you've begged for it, but because you've earned it. This is the power of Machiavellian psychology. It's not about manipulation. It's about strategically reclaiming your power, setting clear boundaries, and commanding respect without the need for validation or approval. You are not for everyone, and that, my friend, is where your true power lies. If you've made it this far, you are already different. Most people choose comfort, approval, and validation. But you are choosing strength. You are choosing clarity. You are choosing respect over approval. Take control of your life. Reclaim your power. Command the respect you deserve. If this message resonated with you, if you feel like something inside has shifted, then don't wait. Subscribe to Gaka Mindset now. Because the person who walks into the room with respect is no longer begging for it. They already own it. And it all starts with you. You choose yourself, and everything else follows.